Hey guys, Dylan McSwaggin here, and welcome back to another WWW, also known as Who Would Win. And in this episode, I'm going to be joined by Astral Assassin.
Oh, hello there.
And we're going to be doing The Incredibles, the best character in The Incredibles, Frozone, and we're going to be putting him up against the most known ice character from the CW verse, Captain Cold, which is pretty much the only one. But anyway, nonetheless, this is going to be a fair fight. No opportunities from either one, such as standard equipment, equal combat in it. That makes sense. So no calling in other players or anything like that. Considering that each at their max power levels, or as the power levels or the neutral power levels, depends on which will be the most fairest for them. And with that said, let's get right into this battle.
Lucius Best, alias Frozone, is a major character in the 2004 Disney/Pixar film The Incredibles. He is the best friend and a close ally of Mr. Incredible, and therefore the family altogether. He has the ability to create ice and freeze surfaces with his hands. Frozone is designed after American speed skater Charlie Davis. Lucius is a longtime friend of Mr. Incredible, or Bob Parr, and therefore the Parr family as a whole. He serves as the best man in the wedding of Bob Parr and Helen Truax. Although it is believed that he is the godfather of Bob's 3 children, this has not been confirmed in the film. Frozone is able to manipulate the water molecules in the air and freeze them, but is unable to utilize this ability when he suffers from dehydration. According to the National Supers Agency, Frozone has attempted to represent the United States in the Winter Olympics, but was rejected on account of his super abilities, granting him a tremendous unfair advantage. Superpowers. Frozone wields control over ice. He can generate ice from his fingertips, but is limited by the amount of moisture in the air in his body. He has frozen water and milk solid, and can freeze bullets in midair while congealing gun-wielding opponents. As a child, he was able to freeze a bowl of fruit punch merely through force of will, without the use of his usual ice blasts. He has limited airborne mobility, not necessarily complete levitation, but he can quickly maneuver along coasters of mid-air icicles, which deteriorate as he goes. And these boost him up in the air a good 100 or more feet. This technique is possibly inspired by Iceman. He can also take large bounds and leaps when in the air. In the movie, he skated across the air and hitchhiked onto a helicopter because of this. His special boots have soles which materialize into either ice skates, skis, or a disc, the equivalent of a snowboard. Combined with chutes of ice, these make for particularly speedy travel. He must also wear goggles, reminiscent of Cyclops' ruby quartz visor, to protect his eyes from snow blindness and to best conceal his secret identity as Lucius Best, Bob Parr's best friend. He can also create snow, soft enough to cushion falls and slide on rough surfaces. And the appearances that he's in, it's really mainly The Incredibles. And that's really it.
He has appeared in some other games, though.
Yeah, he has.
Now moving on to Captain Cold. Leonard Snart was raised by an abusive father and took refuge with his grandfather, who worked in an ice truck. When his grandfather died, Snart grew tired of his father's abuse and set out to start a criminal career. Snart joined up with a group of small thieves and planned out a robbery. Each was issued a gun and a visor to protect their eyes against the flashes of gunfire. The visor design would later be adapted by Snart into his trademark costume. In recent years, he has added a radio receiver to them which picks up the police band to monitor local law enforcement. Snart and the other thugs were captured by the Flash and imprisoned. Snart decided to go solo, but knew he had to do something about the local hero, the Flash. Snart read an article that theorized the energy emissions of a cyclotron could interfere with the Flash's speed. He designed a weapon to harness that power and broke into lab. Intending to use the device, he could charge up his experimental gun. As he was finishing his experiment, a security guard had surprised Snart. Intended to use his gun only to scare the guard, he inadvertently pulled the trigger and discovered that his weapon had been altered in a way he had never imagined. The moisture in the air around the guard froze. Intrigued by the twist of fate, Snart donned a parka and the aforementioned visor and declared himself to be Captain Cold, the man who mastered Absolute Zero. Snart then committed a series of non-lethal crimes, on one occasion placing the city in suspended animation in an attempt to force Iris West to marry him, as he had fallen in love with her. When he saw her in the prison, but then the Flash got through a wall of ice and was able to reverse the process. He later fell in love with a newscaster and competed with Heatwave in his first appearance over her in a crime spree, but they were both beaten by the Flash. But after Barry Allen's death during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, Captain Cold became a bounty hunter with his sister Lisa, the Golden Glider. Like the majority of the Flash's rogues, Snart had no innate superhuman powers. He instead relied on his cold guns and instincts. Over the years, Snart had modified his weapons to allow a variety of effects, such as a cold beam that freezes anything it hits instantly, creating a cold field where people and objects literally stop in their tracks. Cold uses this ability to slow down the Flash's movements. Bathing his opponent in a wide beam of ice designed to freeze the skin of the target so they stay conscious and not go numb to the pain. Cold used this to kill Chill Blaine, who murdered Cold's sister to make him suffer as much as possible. Creating a slippery field of ice which can slow down the Flash, forming sharp stalagmites on the ground to impale his enemies, used to kill Chill Blaine after freezing the outer layer of his skin so he could inflict as much pain as possible. An ice grenade, which was stated to turn this place into an iceberg, used to freeze anything in a large radius in the events of Iron Hearts during the events of Blackest Night. Creating mirages out of extreme cold like heat, fellow ice-based villain Mr. Freeze has noted that Cold is the only cold-themed villain in the DC universe to have mastered Absolute Zero with his weapons. In the New 52 universe, Captain Cold temporarily had metahuman powers, ice powers, including the power to slow down the Flash or objects traveling at high velocities via molecular deceleration, caused by Absolute Zero. But these powers are later lost in the Forever Evil series when he is attacked by Deathstorm, the Earth 3 counterpart of Firestorm, with Cold reverting to using his classic ice gun. Despite his lack of professional expertise, Cold states that he has spent so long analysing the parts of his Cold gun that he is able to recreate it in just over half an hour, using parts stolen from a standard electronics shop. He's even skilled enough to program it for a host of unique effects, simulating some of his powers, like his Cold Field, which quick cools the atmosphere to the point everything in it coordinate grinds to a halt, or an auto-activation function which triggers his Cold gun's freeze rate vocalized password input. During the Rebirth storyline, Snart augmented his Cold gun even further by combining it with the anti-speed force technologies by the science criminal cell called Black Hole. And now we're on to the final decision, and this was quite a hard one because we're tossing up between the two, but we have decided to go with Frozone. And that is because Frozone has been able to use his ice powers to hold the machine in Incredibles for a short period of time, whereas Captain Cold has not been able to do anything of a superpowered being like that. If he was wanting to do it on Solomon Grundy, would hold him for a little bit, then Solomon Grundy would come out and then literally kill him. And because Frozone was able to maneuver around the machine without getting hit by it, he would easily be able to dodge Captain Cold's beam. But if he used an ice grenade, he would easily be able to do that. But since he's adapted to the cold, he would simply be able to easily get out and use his ice skates to get out of that, and then easily maneuver over to Captain Cold and easily be able to subdue him.
As well as this, Frozone also has the powers that he kind of manipulates the molecules of water in the air and requires to be hydrated. If Frozone somehow found a way to melt the ice that Captain Cold put out, it would simply just keep giving him more and more pretty much power to use his ice back against him.
Yeah, which is pretty much, Captain Cold is pretty much giving the win to Frozone. So that is the explanation for this who would win. Hope you guys did like this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Go over and subscribe to Astral Assassin's channel, and with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.